Hi, I'm Euge Valovirta. This one is about EVH 5150 Iconic and also how it compares to Peavey 5150 Black Letter. Yeah, a little bit noodling. I effed this up. I forgot what I played on the song. So yeah, I wrote the song, specifically for this video, inspired by this amplifier. Pretty legendary stuff, 5150 series, plays Eddie, So first, the song what I used and the signal change. So someone's gonna ask anyway, and I know I'm interested in these also. So this is a EVH Frankenstein guitar. It's stock, except I moved the volume knob here and then just put these like a plastic, knob covers to fill the holes. So now it's a lot easier for me to play because the volume isn't on the way. Other than that, it's a stock. It's an EVH Wolfgang pickup, which is kind of bright, nice, like that high silver in there. Then to my pedal board, but I didn't use any effects, any pre-effects, so to say. So it was basically straight into the amplifier. And yeah, so but from the pedal board the signal goes to the DI box, but I didn't record a DI signal, and from the DI box throughout it goes to KHE Audio Electronics amp switcher, and I have these amps connected. Now 25150s are on because like the heading said, like I said, I will compare, so you'll hear how it compares the original black letter from 92, 91. This is, it's a original black letter. Okay, from the amps it goes back to the KHE, and from the KHE it goes directly to a Marshall cabinet. The cabinet is in another room. I have here, I built this kind of isolation thing so I can actually monitor myself via the monitors and really hear what the microphones are capturing, what is the sound, and find the sweet spots. So the mics I'm using, it's a Shure SM57 and a Royer VR1 ribbon mic. The ribbon mic is barely open. It's just there to add a little bit this kind of almost like a roomy woof feeling. But the majority what you hear is a Greenback, 25-watt Greenback speaker, and 57. Eddie used Greenbacks, and the iconic cabinet comes with like all other Van Halen cabinet with EVH speakers, which are pretty much like 20-watt Greenbacks. What I have now is 25-watt Greenback, kind of the G12M, the most used, the standard. So that's the signal jet, and then the signal goes to audio interface, and yeah, on those microphones, on their ends, I have Trident Audio's preamps, the Fethead Germanium. So it adds this kind of like Neve 1073 style mojo, because I think Neve used those germanium transistors also in there, or probably still using their preamps. But it just adds, it's not a, make or break deal. It just adds a little bit kind of fuller kind of mojo to both microphones. I will do a separate video of those Trident Audio preamps. They're like really small, really cool. And then, to the Steinberg AXR 4T audio interface, and then I'm recording the guitars to Cubase. Now I'm monitoring myself via the studio monitors, which are Yamaha HSH. So that's the signal chain. That is exactly what I used on the song. I doubled the rhythm guitars, and on the lead, that was only the one guitar what I recorded when I filmed myself. On there is a blended in an Eventide H949 harmonizer plugin and a little bit delay, and then on the one part I added a kind of throw delay, so with the fader. So I blended in just that with to get that effect. That was a CLA Epix plugin. The delay plugin I used was a Softube's Tape Echo. So that's it, and I didn't do any post EQing. As you could hear, it was a little bit like woo 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 and stuff, but like now there's no post EQ, so I wanted you to hear the amp like it is mic'd. If I would have EQ'd, I would probably have cut it a little bit of that low end woof, and probably a tiny amount of high cut, because it was a little bit bright, but it sounded cool. But minor tweaks, if I would have EQ'd the guitars, and that's it. So yeah, let's go through the specs. I have the manual here. This is, again, I borrowed this from a fantastic Swiss music store called Musix. Thank you again for letting me borrow the gear you have. So there's two channels, like on the original 5150. kind of the rhythm channel. Here it's labeled channel 1, here it's rhythm. Channel 2, it's labeled 2. Here it's labeled lead. And this has a bright switch and crunch switch. This has an overdrive switch. So you get from completely clean to overdriven tone. And then the channel 2, it has this burn switch. And I had it on. According to the manual, adding some heavier classic 5150 flavors using the overdrive and burn tone switches. So this kind of gives this over the top and top end original 5150 character with this burn switch. Without, it's more like the newer 5153 series. So it's a little bit tighter, more articulate, and you kind of have to turn a little bit more gain. With this burn switch, it's so close to the blood letter that you'll hear soon. And then your basic EQ, it's shared by the 2 channels like on the original, low, mid, high, and then separate volumes, 1, 2, here is rhythm lead volume, this is post gain, aka master volume, and then there's lead boost, which is foot switchable here. So it adds volume, which you can dial with this, but it also boosts the preamp juice a little bit, so it also adds a little bit gain. Really smart thing. Sometimes these boosts, they are either in front, so they add gain, or then they are after, so they add volume. This does both. I don't know how they've done it, but you know, James Brown, not the funky guy. Well, I don't know if the amp designer James Brown is a funky guy. I haven't met him. Anyway, he has designed this, like he designed the original 5150. So really smart thing to do too. With the boost, you can add volume and a little bit gain. You can't dial how much gain, it's preset, but it adds a tiny amount. And then here's reverb, we're gonna check out that too. And then resonance and presence switches like on the original, which affect power up. So that power tube low and woof, and the presence, the really high highs, you know, that's called presence. Basically, it's a high, but this is normal high and this is high. High. All right. And then you can have it on 1 to 4 quartet mode. So this is I need to cheat. 80 watts. And with this knob, it turns into 20 watts amp. That's pretty cool. I run it on full now. The cabinet is there in a isolation booth. Like I said, it's loud because the master is almost at noon. So this is loud amp. It's as loud as this. All right. And then on the back panel, there's a speaker emulated XLR and stuff. We're gonna check those out later. But now let's focus on these tones. So it's really fat. I tried this because on my cabinet, the Marshall cabinet, I have Greenbacks and V30s. With the V30s, the tone was quite a bit tighter. The low end wasn't so woof woof. But I kind of like the Greenbacks with 5150s because I mean that's what basically Eddie used, and I guess how this amp was designed to be used with the EVH speakers, which are Greenbacks. So I'll use the Greenbacks. So it's really let me turn the monitoring a little bit louder here. Really fat. I mean, Greenbacks are really, you know, these kind of, not necessarily suited for that well to modern metal where you kind of want to have the tight low end and if you use lower tuning. So this guitar is now tuned to 1.5 step lower, and it's in drop, so it's in C sharp drop. Okay, and if I turn off the burn knob, listen. You hear it's more of a 5153 character. The low end is a lot tighter. It's more modern. A little bit less gain. put that on. So it's a lot more like this, and now we're gonna compare. Burn on first Iconic. They're quite similar. This has the presence is, I think it's a little bit dialed in a little bit lower frequency wise, because you can really hear when you dial it in. I have it now here above 4, this is at 7. Check out when I tweak the presence now. So you start to hear it after 4. Check out what happens with the original 5150. Nothing really happens, because I think it's kind of higher, so we humans, we start to hear when it's really boosted. Nothing really happens before 7. Here you can clearly, I feel it's a kind of, because it's more, because the higher it is kind of smoother, which this has. This is a little bit frequency-wise, at least to my ear, it's a little bit low. You can clearly hear that, but I think this is really cool, because with this, it's pretty much like on or off, and this is actually, you can really, because it starts to do something earlier, so depending on the pickups and guitar, because this is, the Wolfgang is kind of bright pickup, so I have this fairly down. The resonance, it's pretty much the same. They're both on 4. You start to add this rumble, and then 5150, black letter. So they operate quite similarly. The volumes are both around noon on both. So even though this is 80 watt, this is 120 watt, but it doesn't really, because the way the amplifiers are designed, below noon, let's say this is 120 watt amp, so I'm not even using half the power now. After, when I really crank these, you start to get the full thing. So one has to always, don't read these power wattages like, you know, I couldn't come up with a word now, but you get the point. So you have to listen with your ear. It's more kind of like the character of the amp, but 80, 90, like a Boogie Mark 5, 800, 100 watt, they are all equally loud when you use them like this, so that the power tubes are open, they work. But if you really crank this, then they really start to distort and they really open, and then it's, you can tell that this is 120. But I'm not gonna do that. I don't wanna break my greenbacks because they're 25 watts. Well, there's 3 of them and then one V30, but you know, it's still a little bit over 100 watt power handling the cabinet, so I don't wanna break that. All right, then let's check out the boost. So again, I'm on the channel 2 all the time. Here, I have the Shure noise gate, but it's just taking care of it. If I take that off and use this noise gate, this is noise like that. But it's post preamp. I don't really matter of shades. I prefer gate before, so before any noise gets to the amplifier, so it doesn't let any noise get to the amplifier, so there isn't any noise to amplifier to amplify. But if you want to use in front and in the loop, now it's dead quiet. There's still a bit, but this is actually pretty cool because then you can have dead quiet. And it kind of actually gates. The way I use gate is just a noise suppression. Alright, EQ. Again the switch, but where it opens, I think it was there, a little bit, 5.5 nits. Okay, let's compare the mids to the original, because the original mids, to me, the range is between 3 or 4. Everything else sounds like Cyhra. So turn it. There where it opens. Iconic. I think this mid range is a bit more usable, so it sounds actually pretty cool from 3 to. That's too much, it's 8. So this range is. I think I like the mid range on this one actually a bit more, well, in a way that it's more versatile, you know, because like I said, this basically I find past 4, maybe around 5, then it's kind of strange, but this one is more versatile. Okay, low end. Insane amount of low end. Okay, 50 on 50. Okay, the Iconic has a bit more low end, but you know who uses it like that. It's, but yeah. So I think my sweet spot usually where I have is around 6 and the treble around 6. So this is actually, I think, I can't remember where I have it. There when it opens. Oh, here about 4. Okay, and then take off the burn. Okay, so the burn kind of changes the voicing, because now this low end acts differently. There's not as much. Oh, it's pretty cool. Basically what you have here, you have, you know, original 5150, then you have the 5153 series. So this burn knob, it's a voicing knob. It changes the character of the preamp. Really cool. Alright, check out the channel 1. It's kinda, you know, hard for teacher. Alright, then let's check out the clean. Add some chorus. So okay, you can get it with a clean, kind of like a little bit slightly overdriven, and then when you back the gain and increase the master volume, you get a like crystal clean. So the chorus also a year better. Now obviously this has only one pickup because usually I use a neck pickup for cleans, and usually my neck, or always my neck pickups are a little bit less hot output ones, like EMG 81, 85, 57, 66, or if I use passive, it's usually Duncan Custom, and then a Fat Cat, which is a P90 or a 59. So less output on the neck, it kind of makes this nice, full, clean sound. This sounds really cool, just the bridge pickup. Okay, let's compare to the legendary, I'm joking, legendary clean channel of original 5150. Yeah, legendarily bad. I mean, it's not that. The way you should use it is add the gain, then back the volume, because this is really, you know, it's basically the burn knob always on, because it's really high, punchy the input. So I think many people miss that out. So because the way I use and way Eddie uses, I don't have any clean sounds live. I just roll down the volume. So basically, this is kind of like, even though the crunch is off, it's distorted. And then when you roll the volume, you get it quite clean, but it's a little bit 3D and that. So comparing to this, this isn't that bad now when I have to keep the volume lower. Alright? This works like when the volume is fully open. So I guess, you know, they took that into account, because I know many people use separate clean channels and they don't really play with the volume, because I'm kind of old school. I come from the era when amps had one channel, you had one good tone, one good sound, which I still do. But I guess more younger generation, you're so used to multi-channel amps and doing the tonality switches with channel switching instead of volume and how you pick, which is the way I do it. But obviously in studio, if I need really clean sound, I just use a amp that has a really good clean sound. Okay, this clean is pretty good. It has a characters of original 5150. I mean, it's not the same because it's still this is a little bit kind of more modern, more different presence, different mid range a little bit, but definitely in that ballpark. So and amplifier change. This is an old one. I can't even remember when I've changed tubes on this one the last time, years ago. So you know, maybe if I put new tubes or similar, same tubes, but this has, they both have 606s. This has two 12AX7/ECC83 preamp tubes. This has 6, so it's more like a cascading gain thing. But you know, putting exact same tubes, they might sound even closer, but definitely the characteristics with the burn switch on, then it's kind of like the black letter, and without, it's more like a modern 5153 series. Okay, now let's hook this up to the XLR output, because I want to hear how it sounds, because according to manual, it says that speaker emulated XLR for connecting amplifier directly to sound reinforcement or recording equipment. Speaker emulator circuit changes amp's tone to match speaker's contribution to overall amp tone. Fear is designed to sound like the 5150 iconic 4x12 speaker cabinet, using analog circuitry to avoid latency or lag. Alright, let's check that out next. Alright, the amp is the other way around, so XLR into the speaker emulated out. Now this goes to my audio interface, and according to manual, the cabinet doesn't need to be connected because there's a power amp mute switch. So it says here, mute power amplifier when engaged, enabling speaker emulated XLR output for quiet recording. When mute is engaged, amplifier can be operated with no speaker connected. However, note that a speaker must be connected when power amp mute is not in use. So let's engage the power amp mute, take out the speaker cabinet. Now I will turn this around and let's see and hear how it sounds. Alright, now it's connected. Let's check out. Well, it's like, in my experience, with all of these, I don't know why it seems to be so hard to make a full sounding, like good sounding XLR output. This sounds like many others I tried. Here, it's quite honky. It doesn't sound feel like a real cabinet. Or if I use Sandrock's reactive load and Bugren digital, Jens Bugren Cyhras, they sound and feel to me like a real cabinet. I guess this needs a serious tweaking. So let's see if I can actually tweak this so that it sounds as full and nasty and like the real cabinet what you just heard. I mean, different cabinet. This is based on the iconic. Maybe the iconic cabinet sounds like this, but if it does, then it's, well, it's obviously a matter of personal opinions, but you know. But yeah, since the power, that's the reason, one of the reasons, because now the power amp is disengaged, so the resonance and presence controls don't work because they operate on the power amp. Check out. So yeah, you're missing that top end, what the presence gives, and you're missing that bottom end, what the resonance gives. And it was a little bit hunky, so I dialed the mids back, increased lows. Let's increase highs a little bit. That was volume. That was volume. There is still a kind of strange thing, because there is no power amp now involved, and since the IR is baked in there, it would be cool if I could bypass the built-in IR and just ran a direct signal from that, and then I could use a kind of like power amp emulation and third-party IR loader, so I could but now the options are limited, so you either use this built-in IR what's in there, or you don't use it. But obviously you can use a reactive load like the Sandrock, and then you can download whatever IRs in there, right? Yeah, it's I wouldn't record with this conclusion. With the burn knob engaged, it's quite close, really close to the original black leather. Not the mids were different, and the presence. So this is unique. It's kind of full of these. It was really close, I must say. Probably if I would tweak more and really figure it out, but that's kind of pointless to me, because the way I tweak amps, I find the sweet spot. What I did. Oh, too much, too little, and then that's the sound. The tone I use. Without the burn switch, quite similar to 5153 series. I've used those amps, the first 5153 on the first two Cyhra albums. This one I actually used with a Bad Boy quite a lot on the forthcoming Cyhra album. And the channel 1, it's pretty much like the rhythm channel on the 5150, except the clean sound was actually quite good. With this one, it's a little bit so, but you need to, like I showed you, turn the volume down. But all in all, I can't remember the price, but I don't think these are that hefty priced. So I think they're pretty moderately priced. So what you get with the whatever price it is, you get 2-channel amp, but basically there's 4. Channel 1 clean and overdrive, no, 5. Channel 2 standard and burn, black leather mode, and then you have the volume boost. And I actually forgot to check the reverb. Well, let's check it out now. It's a reverb. Let's see actually what this says about the reverb. Nothing else than adjust reverb level for both channels. There you go. I don't generally use reverbs at all, but many people do. Hey, hopefully you found this interesting and informative. And thanks again, Musics, for letting me borrow this. Check out the link. They have these, or this soon, for sale, because I'm gonna return this. It's great amp. I don't need this. I have a few others, and I have the OG 5150. So yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. All the best. Until next one. Bye.